Jones says she had only been working here for about 3 weeks when she had had enough and took the video before she quit.
How old is this grease? How old is this?
Until all priority violations are in compliance.
Disgusting. Doesn't make any sense. People shouldn't have to come to restaurants. And when I filled out the application, it didn't say we had roaches, you gotta kill them, you have to step on them. It didn't say that you would be in a dirty environment. It didn't say your manager was gonna be calling you out your name.
The dining room was spotless. Friendly smiles at the counter. A certificate on the wall, proof that everything was safe. But 5 minutes into my first shift, I realized something was badly wrong in the kitchen. Grease that hadn't been changed. Chicken older than 3 days still being served. A cooler running at 55 degrees. What would you do in that moment? Eat the food or turn and walk away? This video breaks down why I quit on day one and why every customer should think twice before trusting what looks clean on the surface. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. The front of the building looked like order. Chairs straightened, counters clear, a glossy sign above the door promising fast food at its best.
Of a Popeyes on the east side.
The franchise owner has fired 2 people, including the manager who was on duty at the time.
There they are, rats scurrying up the wall one after another, disappearing behind a pipe.
Kim's, is that Popeye still closed?
Yes, Glenda and Dave, all day today they've remained closed, and again they were also closed yesterday.
You could walk in and think the operation ran on discipline and method. But once you pass through the kitchen doors, the illusion collapses. What waits behind them is not order, but a zone where safety is traded for speed, and short-term profit trumps long-term survival. At first glance, it was convincing. Smiling faces at the counter, the sharp uniform colors of a brand that prides itself on nationwide reach, and a decorative frame holding a recent inspection report. Most customers never question what's framed behind glass. It sits there like a metal pin to a soldier's chest, meant to assure you that all battles inside the kitchen are already won. But what that frame cannot show is the condition kept out of sight at the very moment you place your order.
As you'll remember, but employees have been coming and going, and so have city inspectors.
Door and records everything as he heads to the kitchen.
It's all ready.
Then he turns on the lights.
Look, Rex.
You can
This tea been open all day. It got chicken in the tea. I swear to God, there's chicken in the tea. I'm not even lying.
The first few minutes inside stripped away that picture. Exhaust fans sat idle, broken for months, yet taped over as if concealment could make their absence vanish. The air grew heavy, greasy, hard to breathe. Odors clung to each corner. Spoiled meat mingling with fryer smoke. A stale chemical sting when the mop water hit the floor. In the cooler, chicken rested under a gray film, slimy to the touch, its surface signaling that it had long overstayed safe limits. The shining counter customers leaned on meant nothing compared to what staff actually carried through during a shift.
After Shakita Jones went live on Facebook to document the rather unsettling and unsanitary conditions inside this Popeyes, and we did expect the health department's report, including their findings, to be released today, but we're now told that report may not be out until the end of the week. We've learned the franchise owner has fired the manager who was on duty and another employee.
Picture the layout like a battlefield map. 3 deep fryers stood aligned like artillery pieces, each coated black from oil turned thicker than tar. 2 prep stations sat opposite, their surfaces bearing crumbs, bits of raw protein, and sauce spills hardened over time. At the far wall, the walk-in cooler struggled at a temperature better suited to a humid summer day than to food storage. In every corner, the systems meant to secure the mission were failing. When you think of supply lines in combat, you know one weak link can collapse the entire chain. That's the kitchen here. Oil unfiltered and reused until it turned as dense as sludge. Cutting boards that acted more like breeding grounds than preparation zones. Gloves meant for single use being worn again and again to keep pace with incoming orders. If this were an operation in the field, you'd call it compromised. Too many breaches, too few defenses left standing.
Jones says she had only been working here for about 3 weeks when she had had enough and took the video before she quit.
How old is this grease? How old is this?
until all priority violations are in compliance.
Disgusting. Doesn't make any sense. People shouldn't have to come to restaurants. And I filled out the application. It didn't say we had roaches, you gotta kill them, you have to step on them. It didn't say that you would be in a dirty environment. It didn't say your manager was gonna be calling you out your name.
The problem wasn't hidden from leadership. The ventilation unit sat broken for months without repair orders ever being completed. The company's higher command knew the reports, yet left workers to fight through smoke and heat without relief. Employees adapted by creating silence, discouraged from speaking out, reminded to keep their heads down. This silence became a tactic of survival, the same kind of code soldiers adopt under pressure. Acknowledge what's wrong privately, but never make it official. Then came the evidence that could not be denied. Health officers re-inspected the area and logged physical proof of rodents and insects, not as isolated intruders, but as established occupants. Trails, droppings, and live sightings, signs that the perimeter had been breached over and over. This wasn't the fog of war.
Acting like he wasn't. It didn't say none of that type of stuff. It didn't say he had dead flies in the ice.
Today, the Popeyes on Gratiot near 7 Mile remain closed with workers hired to tidy up outside. Spokesperson for the health department says management at this Popeyes location is fully cooperating and has agreed to voluntarily remain closed, and inside, inspectors with the City of Detroit's Buildings and Safety Department on site to assist the health department as they continue their investigation.
It was a system so open to compromise that infiltration became the norm. Once that line is crossed, safety no longer exists. It's just a gamble stacked against the diner. The battlefield had been redrawn. It was no longer a kitchen producing meals, but a hazard zone where survival was not about quality, but exposure. Workers normalized it, moving through smoke, handling food past condition, sharing space with vermin, because confronting it meant risking their livelihood. Customers never saw this front line, yet they consumed the end product of that risk every time they ordered. So the question remains, when the fight isn't between staff and disease, but between corporate profit goals and safe conditions, who protects the consumer? If frontline workers can't speak, if managers turn blind, then what defense stands between your meal and the hazard zone it came from? A polished front room is camouflage. Clean tables and framed certificates mean nothing if the kitchen chain of defense has already failed. Safety breaks not with one mistake, but with patterns: warm coolers, reused oil, silence replacing accountability. Appearance cannot shield you from contamination hidden in the rear. That is why you must demand enforcement. Inspect with your own eyes, question what is presented as certainty, and walk away when integrity is compromised. A clean uniform does not equal a safe supply line. Subscribe and join a community that seeks to understand conflict, whether in war zones or in food.